What's going on YouTube? Ben here, player.net, and today we're taking a look at the Cooler Master Silencio 625S. Now, as we can see on the front here, this is an ATX case. It comes equipped with 3 standard fans, has top and front 240mm radiator support, which is always good. Always like to get that little bit of extra water cooling support in there, because even if you're not going to stick a radiator in there, we can put a couple fans in there and help out with the airflow. It's just good to have. It helps keep things nice and cool. And now we of course also have sound absorbing side panels. So as you can see here on the front of the box, there is a nice image of the front of the case itself. We can't really see too much here, but it appears that, I don't know if you can see it in this video, probably not, but our USB ports are across the top with what looks like maybe a SD reader or a slot of some sort, and then of course our microphone and headset jacks. And what's a little bit different is our power and reset buttons are actually here on the right hand side of the case. So it'll be interesting to see how all that works and looks together. Moving around a little bit here, on one of the sides, I don't know which side you like to call it, we have our full specifications list that goes ahead and lets us know that the only available color for this case is in midnight black. And then it of course goes on to let us know our dimensions, net weight, how many drive bays we have, the air cooling system. It even goes on to let us know what we can fit in here for the liquid cooling. Again, we have the top and front support for the 240mm radiators, which is nice. And then there's what is this? Just down here in the bottom says, for more information, please visit. And then of course there's a link that you can go ahead online and visit for a bit more information. Moving around here to the back of the box, and we have a bit more detailed look at the case itself. They've gone ahead and we can now see the front of the case. We have an image of it with the side panel off, letting us look inside. And then of course over here we have the back of it. It lets us know that there's a hidden SSD slot behind the back motherboard plate, so that'll be interesting to look at. Of course, again, the removable top panels for that 240mm radiator support, which is nice. And then, yeah, dual USB and an SD card reader right on the top of the case. Now that's something, the SD card reader will come in handy for me perfectly, because as soon as I'm done shooting this video, I'm going to pop my SD card out of the camera and start editing little pictures and some videos. It'll be nice too, because once I build in this case, I'll be able to just pop my SD card right in there and start working on the review. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. The other side does have like a kind of side image profile of the case, but the nice couriers who shipped this to me were nice, and they put a big sticker right over it, so I won't show you guys in that. I tried to remove it and it got a little bit messy. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and stop this video right here. We're gonna take the case out and we're gonna have a bit closer look at some of those features that we mentioned and some of the stuff that I might not have mentioned. Alright, so as you can see, we've gotten the case out of the box, and it looks very nice. Of course, midnight black. It's real stylish and sleek. I like it. Just to touch on one thing first, there's of course the manual installation guide inside the box, which just covers, let's see here, yeah, basically lets you know what you can, how to take the case apart and do what you can with it. As mentioned, on the front of the case, we have our power and reset buttons here on the side. And then we can go ahead and open this front panel door that's connected by a couple of magnets. And it gives us access to the front 5.25-inch bays. And also, if we take this off, we now have access to our fans. Or as previously mentioned, you can put a 240mm radiator in there. Or if you don't like the included fans, you can always put some with some LEDs or something in there as well. Now, the 5.25-inch bays are nice as well. They're easily removable. You just pop it out, and I mean that's it. If you want to put it back in, you just kind of get behind it here, and As you can see, one-handed, pop it right back in, no problems at all. Alright, so here's the top of the case. Pardon the angle, my tripod isn't the best, so I've kind of stuck with the one view of things. As mentioned, we of course down at the bottom we have 2x USB 3.0 ports, we have 2x USB 2.0 ports, microphone, headphone, and the SD card slot reader. Now what's nice, and that you may not be able to see quite in the video, is that this panel comes off. If we want to have a bit better cooling, we can just take that off, and now as you can see we have a bit of a vented top on here, which is nice because this is also where we can go ahead and put another 240 millimeter radiator for air cooling and all that, which we'll take another look at once we get the side. Moving on to the back, and as you can see here we have another included fan, and we have 3 holes with rubber grommets in them for water cooling to allow a bit more tubage to go through there. We of course have our standard 7 PCI expansion slots with the vented blanking plates, if you will. We have another expansion slot over here that will cover more a bit in the written review part of what it's there for. And then we also have a cutout for our bottom mounted PSU. Before we take a look inside, I'm going to flip this case over one more time and give you all a quick peek at what's on the bottom. Alright, so looking at the bottom, and as you can see, we have 4 little non-slip pads here. We also have some anti-vibration stuff here for a fan that we'll take a look at on the inside. But one of the things I like is Cooler Master, instead of having one dust filter, as a lot of companies do with their cases, Cooler Master has opted to give us 2. So we have one for the power supply and then one for another optional fan that will go in there. It doesn't really affect anything, but it's just something that I personally find nice. I think it's a neat feature because, you know, this one might be covered in dust where this one isn't. It'd probably be vice versa, but you get the point. So it's just nice to have the option to only remove one if needed. That's pretty much it for the outside of the case, so let's take a look inside. Alright, so before we have a look inside, it's also worth noting that this side panel right here, it can come off. But just this little area here, but be careful because it is actually screwed in on the inside. I can't remember which, but 2 of the corners are screwed in. So let's go ahead, take this bad boy off here and have a better look at the inside of the case and see what we have. And also remember, as mentioned, as you can see here, we have the 2 screws and how we can pop that off to put a nice little fan, or even just to allow for a little bit better airflow, or if you want to see in there, maybe you got some LEDs you want to shine out a little bit, whatever. But as we can also see here, we of course have the noise dampening, soundproofing stuff on our side panel as well, so that's always a nice touch. Set that to the side for the minute, don't mind me. Alright, so here it is. Here is the inside of the Cooler Master Silencio 625S. Immediately, one of the first things I always notice, or do anyways, is we're guaranteed to have a little accessories box in here. It contains some screws, maybe a post speaker, a couple little brackets and whatnot. Yeah, as you can see, Cooler Master have included some brackets here for us. And then we also have a nice little baggie here that has all our screws, some more rubber anti-vibration things, probably for hard drives and whatnot, plenty of screws, post speaker, and there's also a few zip ties in the package to go ahead and get us started to make sure we can get our cable management to where we want. Having a look at the inside of the case, we of course can notice our 5.25 inch optical drive bays, water res bays, whatever you want to put, a card reader or whatever floats your boat in there. One of the things I like that I'm noticing off the bat is we actually now have more 2.5 inch hard disk trays in the bay than we do 3.5 inch. It's still nice to have a couple 3.5 inch for the bigger storage, but as SSDs are coming down in price, it is also nice to see more support for them. Now, of course, all of these just slot right out, and as you can see, I don't know if you can see here, but there are a few holes to go ahead and move things around so we can get it set up the way we need. And it's already got the I don't even know what to call them, the little clips or whatever in, so you can just stick the hard drive in here, bend it a little bit, and then you get the little pins to go right in the hole, and it holds your hard drive in, and then you just come back in and boom, pop it right in. Same thing with the 3.5 inch, and it also looks to me, yeah, you can actually turn the 3.5 inch into a 2.5 inch, so that's quite a nifty little feature to have there. Always comes in handy. Of course, we have our bundle of wires and cables for the front I/O panels, all our USBs, power buttons, and all that stuff. We also can see that Cooler Master have taken the liberty and installed 2 of our motherboard standoffs for us. There is a bit of a guide back here. It's kind of hard to see. It says MB holes index, and it's micro. ATX is A through, what is that, I believe, and ATX is A through L. And then each one of these holes down here is labeled accordingly, so we know which holes to put our motherboard standoffs in. That's always a nice feature, I mean, especially if you don't build in a lot of cases. It just makes things easier for the end user, really, so it just gives you a bit more of a diagram to go ahead and get things started. Another one of the things I'm noticing instantly looking in the case is the actual, try to hold that out the way, the size of our main cable routing hole. Now for these ones here, it's alright for them to be this size, but normally in a lot of cases you'll find the bottom one's a little bit too small. Like, you got to figure all our power supply cables, or at least 99% of them, we want to go through this bottom hole. Cooler Master have taken the time to go ahead and they've made it quite big. I mean, you should fit any of your cables back there. So it goes and tells me this case is aimed to have a lot of hardware in it, hard drives, couple graphics cards. There's plenty of cable routing management, what it looks like from the front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take the other side panel off and give you guys a shot from the back of the motherboard tray.